You know when you go to sleep and your phone just does one of those silent overnight software updates?
Oh, yeah. The screen goes black, you get that little glowing progress bar.
Exactly. And you just trust that the machine is doing what it needs to do.
Right, and then you wake up the next morning, and the physical device, it looks exactly the same. The case hasn't changed. The screens still have that same scratch in the corner.
Yeah, but underneath the glass, the entire operating system has been completely rewired.
Exactly. Suddenly your battery lasts twice as long. Apps open instantly.
Right, the whole experience is fundamentally upgraded without you having to buy a new device or learn a completely new system.
Which is the perfect way to look at what we're talking about today.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because today, we are diving into a document that suggests that exact same invisible overnight upgrade is happening right now.
But not to our smartphones.
No, to the entire United States financial system. We are looking at a brand new release from the Metallicus community. It's dated exactly today, March 30, 2026.
And it's titled The Credit Union Takeover Thesis by Bruce Stewart.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is to explore how this thesis completely busts a massive misconception. We always hear that the future of banking is being built by, loud Silicon Valley startups.
Or flashy crypto apps.
Exactly. But the sources argue it is happening quietly inside the most traditional, community-focused institutions imaginable.
What's fascinating here is that we're looking at not just what is happening, but why the U.S. financial system is being rewired from the inside out.
Moving from an era of experimentation into, full-scale implementation.
Exactly.
So to understand this massive shift, we first have to look at a single, highly strategic career move. The author uses this as the opening signal for this entire thesis.
Right, we're talking about Lee Woolley.
Yeah, Lee Woolley. Yeah. So he went from leading banking strategy at Metallicus, which is a major blockchain infrastructure company, to becoming the CEO of Treasury Department Federal Credit Union.
And according to the source, this isn't just, a simple job change. No, it marks the end of what they call the infrastructure phase and the beginning of the integration phase.
Okay, integration.
Right. The document explains this as the talent migration flywheel. Basically, when executives like Woolley move into these legacy institutions, their knowledge, their strategy, and most importantly, their confidence moves with them.
Because they become the decision makers.
Exactly. They accelerate the adoption internally because they already know the tech works.
I see the logic, but I have to push back a bit here.
Okay.
Because think about it like this. Imagine a top tech developer leaving a cutting-edge AI lab to become the manager of a local neighborhood hardware store.
Right.
Why would someone operating the absolute cutting edge of blockchain infrastructure want to deal with the day-to-day operations of a credit union? Doesn't that seem like a huge step backward?
Well, it only looks like a step backward if you think the goal is just building cool tech. But the source points out that transformation happens from within, not just from external disruption.
I see.
Yeah, they highlight that phase 3 implementation is happening right now. Executives are realizing you have to embed this tech directly into the core systems everyday people actually use.
Which naturally begs the question. If these executives are infiltrating traditional finance, why are they specifically targeting credit unions?
Right. Why not the big guys?
Yeah, why not the massive trillion-dollar big banks?
Well, the text contrasts the constraints of large banks with the agility of credit unions. Large banks are dealing with massive legacy core systems.
Like ancient computer code.
Exactly. Plus, heavy regulatory scrutiny at scale, intense internal bureaucracy, and of course, relentless shareholder pressure for quarterly earnings.
So they can't afford to take risks.
Right. But credit unions are uniquely positioned. They have deep community trust, operational flexibility, and member-first incentives because they don't have those same Wall Street shareholders breathing down their necks.
So big banks are essentially like massive cargo ships.
Yeah, good analogy.
They carry a ton of weight, but they are incredibly hard to turn and slow to upgrade, while credit unions are more like a fleet of speedboats.
Exactly. And the source mentions that credit unions can pilot faster and collaborate through shared programs.
Like CUSOs.
Right. Credit union service organizations and associations. It makes them the perfect sandbox for incremental, compliant blockchain adoption.
But wait, credit unions are historically known for being a bit old school, right?
Sure.
Are we really supposed to believe they are ready to handle institutional-grade blockchain infrastructure.
This raises an important question, and the text clarifies that credit unions don't actually need to build the tech themselves.
Okay.
For the first time, they have access to infrastructure built specifically for them, which leads us perfectly to the strategy of Metallicus, the company actually providing these tools.
So if credit unions are the ideal vehicle for this financial revolution, what exactly is the engine powering them?
It's the Metallicus blueprint.
Right. And the source details this Metallicus strategy as doing the exact opposite of disruptive crypto companies. They aren't building flashy apps.
No, they're building the rails.
A full banking operating system.
Exactly. The text lists specific components, starting with the Metal blockchain, which provides private and public subnet infrastructure.
Which is huge for bank privacy laws.
Right. Then there's the XPR network.
A high-performance settlement layer.
Yes, plus the Metal Pay API, which is the bank integration layer.
So they don't have to rip out their old software.
Exactly. And the WebAuth wallet for identity-first self-custody.
And then the assets themselves, like the Metal Dollar or XMD, which is a compliant stablecoin index.
And finally, MetalX and Loan for on-chain financial services.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because when I look at this list, it really reminds me of the gold rush.
Oh, how so?
Well, Metallicus isn't out there panning for gold like all the speculative crypto apps. They're quietly manufacturing all the pickaxes, the mine carts, and the railroads.
That is a perfect way to put it. In fact, there's a quote from Marshall Hayner, the CEO of Metallicus, right in the text. He says, "The winners won't be the loudest apps. They'll be the ones who own the rails."
But I have a question about all this. If this is a full banking operating system designed with financial institutions, how much of this is just, theoretical white paper talk?
Right.
And how much is actually happening right now?
Well, that's where we get into the hard data. The era of crypto as pure speculation, what they call phase one from 2017 to 2022, is over.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. And we're even moving past mere pilot programs, which was phase two over the last couple of years. The author points directly to the Q2 report to prove it's live right now.
So let's look at that hard data, because to prove this isn't just a theory, we need to see what this implementation looks like in practice.
And the Q2 report data is staggering. It shows 22 credit unions are actively participating in stablecoin pilots right now.
Wow, 22 of them.
Yes, actively testing custom-branded stablecoins for real use cases like payments, settlement, and interoperability.
And the source has a really specific term for this. They call it stablecoins, the Trojan horse.
Right, because the stablecoin is not the end product.
It's just the entry point.
Exactly.
Okay.
It unlocks instant member-to-member payments and internal settlement. But once that is deployed, the text explains that everything else follows.
Like the native identity, lending, tokenized assets, and on-chain governance.
Exactly.
I love that Trojan horse concept. It's like sneaking a smartphone into a house by pretending it's just a really good calculator.
Yeah, pretty much.
To bring it inside, use the calculator, it's great. But once it's inside, suddenly you realize you have access to the internet, a camera, and GPS.
Exactly.
So if the stablecoin is just the foot in the door, what is the actual ultimate goal here? What does a full-stack on-chain financial institution actually look like for you, the listener, when you walk into a branch?
Well, the author details the real product as a system where identity is native and compliance is embedded directly into the transaction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, transactions become programmable and settlement is instant. And it's all integrated right into the existing banking rails.
Which brings us to another Marshall Hayner quote from the document. He says, "Banking isn't being disrupted. It's being rewritten line by line inside the institutions that already exist."
And if we connect these individual credit union pilots together, a much larger, almost invisible network begins to emerge.
Right, let's look at that strategic endgame.
The endgame thesis is basically thousands of credit unions running private blockchain subnets.
Each issuing their own stablecoins.
Yes, but all interoperable through that shared Metallicus infrastructure and connected to public networks for liquidity.
So the result is this massive, decentralized, regulated financial network.
Exactly. It isn't controlled by one single massive bank or some tech monopoly.
And that addresses the biggest misconception in crypto, right?
Absolutely. The idea that adoption means users voluntarily choosing new apps.
Right.
The author argues that adoption actually happens when your bank upgrades without you even noticing.
The final Marshall Hayner quote really hammers this home. He says, "You don't need to replace banks, you upgrade them."
Yes.
So what does this all mean? It goes right back to the plumbing analogy. It's like updating the plumbing of a massive apartment building while all the tenants are fast asleep.
Yeah.
They wake up, turn on the faucet, and the water pressure is just magically better.
Without them needing to know how the pipes were welded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But wait, I do have to push back on the philosophy of this.
Okay.
If the whole point of crypto initially was to, be your own bank and escape traditional finance.
Sure, the original ethos.
Right. Isn't embedding it into regulated credit unions completely defeating the original rebellious purpose of blockchain?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the author of the text addresses this pushback. They explain that market cycles and those original crypto rebel narratives are just noise. Yeah, the actual signal is the infrastructure. By embedding itself into the core of financial distribution, this technology finally achieves the real-world utility it has been promising for a decade.
Oh, I see.
It perfectly blends the decentralization of blockchain with real regulatory safety.
It makes total sense when you frame it like that. It's like the rebellion had to mature to actually change the system.
Exactly.
So just to summarize the ultimate takeaway for you listening today, the future of finance won't arrive with loud hype.
No, it will happen quietly.
Right. The closing vision from the source is that one day very soon, your credit union will launch a stablecoin, your wallet will become your identity, and your money will move instantly.
And you will never need to know why or how the blockchain works.
Which is the true definition of mass adoption.
It really is. And it leaves us with a final thought to mull over that builds on this entire text.
Okay, let's hear it.
If thousands of local credit unions successfully link together through this shared interoperable blockchain infrastructure, do they effectively form a massive decentralized megabank?
Oh, wow.
Right. And if so, how will the traditional, slow-moving, trillion-dollar big banks possibly compete with an agile swarm of community institutions that suddenly possess vastly superior technology?
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question right there.
It really is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep your eyes open the next time your local credit union announces a routine system upgrade.
Because you never know what's happening under the hood.
Exactly. Until next time.